So, back to reading out of my kind of reading out of the introduction of Patanjali Yoga Sutra by Alistair Shearer, page number 12. Now he is into some literature review like in a doctoral thesis, but it's about our ancient Bharat or India, modern. Page number 12. If any country has traditionally considered the quest to be the central purpose of human life, here quest Q is capital, okay? That quest to self-discovery. If any country has traditionally considered that kind of a self-journey to be the central purpose of life, human life, it is India. Alright? Actually, it should have been Bharat. By the time it is India, that has diminished in its core. It became getting that stage of tranquilized by triviality, alright. But at least that much is good. But there is the yoga procedures, which our Honorable new Prime Minister Narendra Damodar Das Modi has taken up, and it is now world over known, and therefore it is practiced in India also. He very intelligently did it across the world, because Indians in general having various mental traps still continuing, okay, they would appreciate if it is done much more in other countries, especially the US. Yeah, it is there in the US also. Therefore, it is very prevalent now in India. I am staying nearby Isha Yoga Center. Okay. If any country has traditionally considered the quest to be the central purpose of human life, it is India. Her civilization. Oh, her. Oh, that's beautiful. India is a her. Feminine. Very good. Civilization has from earliest times been built on the bedrock of yoga, on the foundation of yoga, alright. Like somewhat Japan for some time at least, I don't know, based on the bedrock of Buddhism and especially Zen. You can see the elements of Zen operating in every home, in the flower arrangement or in the way things are laid out and in their very dress and their practices. Yoga itself is not Indian, it is universal. But it is to that primeval land that we must look to trace the background of the Yoga Sutras. He has done a wonderful statement. Yoga itself is not Indian. So there must have been some yoga elsewhere also. But it is to that primeval land, original land, that we must look into for the traces of yoga in the form of Yoga Sutras, of course. But he has accepted that yoga is universal. It is not, it was not, I don't think so, but now it can be. At least it is universal, sort of, in India now, to an extent. Next paragraph, or paragraph number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the 11th paragraph. Our first glimpse of yoga on Indian soil is tantalizingly brief. Tantalizingly brief. That is not with almost all great dangers of originality of the ancient rishis. Most of them are brief and most of them are absent, most of them are missing, or perhaps most of them were never written at all. It is the famous steatite, S-T-A-T-I-T, steatite seal excavated at Mohenjo-daro in what is now Pakistan. Mohenjo-daro was one of the principal cities of the civilization that flourished in the Indus River Valley nearly 3,000 years before Christ. So what is steatite? First time reading, therefore the words are all of Hey Siri, what is the meaning of steatite? Oh, no, my pronunciation is correct. What is the meaning of the word steatite? S-T-A-T-I-T-E. Oh. Anyway, my pronunciation is not really comprehensible by the Siri. So if you want to, you look into Siri. The spelling is Steatate. Famous Tetate seal excavated at Mohenjo-daro. Okay. Alright. This was a vast and well-organized urban culture extending over 1,000 miles from the Arabian Sea in the south to Delhi in the north. It provides us with our earliest information of civilization on the Indian subcontinent. Alright. Here's some food to Derby. So Arabian Sea in the south to Delhi in the north. It provides us with our earliest information of civilization in the Indian subcontinent. Alright. The Indus Valley seal depicts a fertility god. God for fertility. That means the continuity of the species. That's very, very extremely original. The species are to continue. That's the purpose of existence all over Earth. Not huge buildings and establishments and governments and all those things are for the continuity of the species. Now survival. The sexual instinct, the libidinal energy is functioning all over the species, what Sigmund Freud called the libidinal energy, that electric current by which the species continue to procreate. Okay? So it has a fertility god. Is there a depiction of that? No. Anyway, before that there is a Shivalinga in page number 11. Okay. Fertility god, very interesting. The Indus Valley seal depicts a fertility god. I don't know whether it was the only one or the first one. And then it is not she, he is wearing horns, HORNs, like the figures discovered in the ruined citadels of Mesopotamia, has an erect phallus, lingam. So, through which the sperm is ejaculated. There is lingam even in an earthworm. So, the tube through which the sperm, whatever that structure is induced into the young, into the other, that is not mentioned, female. By the way, in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, there is no specific mention of female. Most of the terms are he, there is only he. Alright? That's very interesting. Anyway, that's a side point. So this fertility god wearing two horns, like the figures discovered in the ruined citadels of Mesopotamia, also has an erect phallus. Phallus is a sophisticated word for penis. And is surrounded by wild animals. So it is there with all animals, one way or the other. Okay? Like such as elephant, tiger, rhinoceros and buffalo. In front of him sit a pair of deer, DWR. The figure is cross-legged in a yoga posture, in a low meditation couch, like those still used by yogis in India today. I don't think there is a picture of that anywhere. Okay, not in the subsequent pages, but the phallus part is here, the linga. Not of that, it is from some other locations. Yeah. Alright. Okay, paragraph number 12 actually. Yeah. The fertility god. Pair of deer. The figure is cross-legged as in a yoga posture, in a long meditation couch, like those still used by yogis in India today. He is the prototype of the later Hindu deity Shiva. So therefore, it is a prototype. So therefore, Shiva is called the Adi Yogi, popularized by our modern yogi, what called Jaggi Vasudev. So, prototype of the latter Hindu deity Shiva. It means the auspicious one, also known as Pasupati, the Lord of all creatures, Shiva. Alright? The source of life and time. Oh, why you bring in time and all that sort? Shiva creates the universe through the rhythm of the eternal dance and presides over the process of change and recreation. So now going the imagination, the wild visualized imagination of the original minds of those people. I don't know. Okay? Okay? The source of life and time, etc. The Shiva creates, so it's all very wrong positioning. Shiva creates the universe through the rhythm of his eternal dance and presides over the process of change and recreation. The Shiva meaning that lingam, okay, that transient orgasmic intent driven lingam, okay, in its rhythm and eternal dance, the dance of seeking the counterpart, the vagina of the feminine creature, and presides over the process. So it is a purely symbolic representation, what I call in my theory of violin called invariant, variant, engage, network, orbit, etc., which I will be explaining in some other video. That lingam, so that not that lingam itself, a lot of people are symbolically trying to understand that. But the invariant of that is that moment of erection of the lingam of the male and entering into the vaginal hole and having that ejaculation. That is the invariant of the process of all species continuity. Alright? And presides, so that is a kind of glorifying words. That is the problem of all this kind of treatise. And I was surprised when I glanced through the pages, even Patanjali Yoga Sutra contains some that kind of unnecessary adjectives and glorifying terms which only corrupt and camouflage. I don't know whether they do it consciously or unconsciously. Or is it a planned camouflage of the truth? Anyway, the source of life and time, what Shiva creates the universe through the rhythm, creates the universe suddenly. What universe? The solar system, the galaxy, beyond that? Or existence in planet Earth? He could have used it that way. That creates the universe, creates the continuity of the existential process in the planet Earth. That should have been the language there. Through the rhythm and eternal dance, forget about eternal, through the rhythm and dance. So there is a rhythm of sexual activity. Okay? And presides over the process. Oh, preside, he is sitting there presiding. I am sorry to say, that's bullshit. Okay? Because there is a element of homomorphic thought process here. Okay? He lives in the forest. He is continuing, this poor guy is also mistaken. He lives in the forest, the Lord of Yoga and protector of yogis, and as such he is worshipped as the conqueror of death, Mrityunjaya, and the giver of joy, Shankara. So, Mrityunjaya and Shankara are the intimate synonyms of so-called Lord Shiva or God Shiva, or ideally that lingam. Right? So I wonder if they are glorifying lingam, why they don't talk about the vagina, the yoni. But of course there are even temples for yoni in this country, but it is a male-dominated perspective of the world, you know. The world is an idea, like Friedrich Nietzsche or Schopenhauer said. Because mostly behind this are all men. The feminine mind is not a reference point at all. The masculine gender is thinking, conceptualizing. So, what conqueror, male gender of death, Mrityunjaya, and the giver of joy is Shankara. Okay? So that Mrityunjaya and Shankara are, in a sense, when you search for the invariant, that is again the linga only. So Yoni is like a representation of the planet Earth, barren Earth, or just like that Earth, into which the seeds are to fall through the water drops of the rain or by other means. But that seed only flourish and manifest itself in the surface of the earth. Both of them are important, but which one is whether the chicken or the egg is first? So that kind of an arbitration is not essential here. And thousands of followers of Isha Yoga, where the lingam is glorified and Shiva is the central idol. A lot of females also go. Good, let them go, no doubt. But I am telling, do they understand what is lingam? Perhaps they understand it more than the man himself, we don't know. Anyway, next paragraph, paragraph number 13. The enigmatic seal, the testate seal, barely 2 inches square, is imprinted with the Indus Valley script and remains undeciphered to this day. So there are some script. Nobody knows what is written. And if at all somebody knew, I am sure that it is not easy to locate the referent of that. Anyway, it is one of the very few pieces of archaeological evidence that acts as a link between the great cultural unity that spanned the Indo-Mediterranean world in prehistoric times and the first Indian civilization that succeeded it. Like some mysterious cipher, C-Y-P-H-E-R, encoded with the essential wisdom of yoga, the seal, S-E-A-L, transmits a teaching that since the dawn of history has been inseparably linked with the primeval and regenerative forces that govern both man and beast. Man and beast meaning all organic kingdom. All animal kingdom and of course the plant kingdom also. Plants also that pollen, whatever, the male and the female. Alright. Plants also have that Shiva. And that's another point which I always wanted to say. All concepts and glorified God images are all in the form of the human being. I don't know what is the percentage of human species on planet Earth, but I assume that the other species, from the amoeba to the monkey to the lion to the cat and the butterfly and the birds, they must definitely outnumber, I think maybe 95% of the planet Earth. So they do not have a God, they do not have lingam, they do not have self-search, they do not have self-search. That's the only difference. Because by the assumptions, only human beings have such a vast, intricate, complex, greatly what you call magical central nervous system and the brain, the cerebral cortex, so the neuronal system. So why that neural system is not capable of having a perception, at least that every blade of grass too is an expression of the lingam or the invariant of nature process. Okay. Alright, anyway, they don't have the sensibility, so therefore whether they are enlightened or not doesn't matter, okay. But it matters a lot for the so-called human beings who having given a freewheeling intelligence and consciousness, with what according to these people, with a given deep desire to self-discovery. Alright, Mrityunjaya, the conqueror of death and the giver of joy. Then paragraph number 13. Which I read, I suppose. Ends with man and beast. So, in the same page of 12, there is one more paragraph, I finish it. Because it is literature review. The Indus Valley culture lasted until the middle of the second millennium BC. No one knows how or why it disappeared. All we do know is that at about this time, the first waves of nomadic pastoral tribes from Central Asia begin to enter northwest India. These people, the Aryans, brought with them the Vedas, which are mankind's older records of knowledge and only surviving evidence of the Aryan civilization. They are richly poetic, sensuous description of the eternal drama of the creation, maintenance and dissolution of the universe, and are said to be truths intuited by enlightened seers or rishis at the beginning of this cosmic cycle. They have been passed down orally through an hereditary succession of pandits to the present day. Although these recondite chants have remained virtually unfathomed by Western scholarship. Very correct. They have been immense importance in shaping the whole subsequent Indian culture. And that is not completely true anyway. In their written form, they are the sacred books of Hinduism, that loosely related group of religious beliefs and practices which is the offspring of the Vedic and indigenous cultures. Indeed, they are still revered as the fount, F-O-U-N-T, of all knowledge by Orthodox Hindus, who regard them as the textbooks of eternal truth, or Sanatana Dharma. This is by literature review. Okay. Okay, I have promised that I will be reading out the entire preface, which I am not in a real agreement with most of the part, which this much is not required, but these are all significant expressions of great mind. It decided to have this kind of ideas also in the introduction. So I will continue to read out. Life in Vedic India, that means paragraph number 15, page number 13. Life in Vedic India revolved around the necessity of maintaining contact with the myriad celestial energies which uphold the universe. Precisely. Just part of their Sanatana Dharma. These were the Devas, the shining ones. The contact was essential to preserve the harmony of the cosmic hierarchy in which the human realm is only one among many. Oh, the way to sustain this universal order was twofold, through the performance of sacrificial ritual and the practice of yoga. Talking about the history, whether it is so or not, we don't have to bother about that much. If our purpose is self-discovery, alright? The Vedas, in this paragraph, number 16, reiterate that if the cosmic order is disrupted and the harmony between the various planes, PLANs of creation broken, then suffering is the inevitable result. Okay, so all for academic discussion. So, okay. That means certain ritual sacrifices and practice of yoga are avoided by which they call disruption of cosmic order. Then suffering is inevitable. It's a very high level idea anyway. Normal people, poor people, what do they break? They are all gentle, ordinary people. They have not much issues of suffering. I live in among the poorest of the poor in Tamil Nadu, Kali Mangalam. They are always smiling, I know. Just 3 kilometers away in Alandre, you don't see smiling faces. But in Kalimangalam, we see all children smiling and playing all the time. People beyond the age of 85, 90 and 95 are working in the field with cheerful faces from morning till late evening. Okay. So, they don't break or disrupt any of the things. They are all very poor people. They participate in every festival of the temple. They walk barefoot to some 200 kilometers to various other temples and all that anyway. Then suffering is the result. The Aryans saw no fundamental difference between the material and the spiritual worlds or between the realms of mind and matter. Okay? Therefore, it was so that at most importance that thought, speech and action be life-supporting, in harmony with all other levels of the universe. That is brilliant. Okay? And a little bit of how to do it, why is it, what is it and all can be achieved by reflective analytical thinking by reading the book of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. You need to read it once again. Therefore, it was of the utmost importance that thought, speech and action be life-supporting. That means it should be in harmony with other levels of the universe. That's the word level. Other orbits, other creatures in the universe, with the plants and birds and butterflies. That's what is implied. And this so-called thoughts, okay, and actions and etc., they later comprised critical parts of the Eightfold Path of Enlightenment by Buddha also. So one should be true, one should be ethical, one should be good in the thoughts and speech and action. Alright? So one should be having that integration between knowing and doing. That is what is actually revealed. As they lived, that means as those people in the past lived by a COD, that sought to embrace all aspects of life, their society was organized as a microcosm of natural order. This was probably the origin of the later caste system. The specialized knowledge of sacrificial ritual was the province of the Brahmins. Because of the tradition of priestly expertise, the Brahmins have continued to command enormous respect among the Orthodox up until modern times, even now also. Okay. So our introduction writer goes into his knowledge about all these aspects. Okay. Now paragraph number 17. One group of Vedic texts, namely the Upanishads, is especially concerned with yoga. And coming to our topic. So all the Upanishads are about yoga. So every yoga student of this country or the world, every yoga teacher or master must do sessions on at least the core three Upanishads of India. Alright. And so one group of Vedic texts, the Upanishads, is especially concerned with yoga. The oldest of the Vedas tells us that this knowledge is eternal and absolute because it dwells, DWELLS, because it dwells in the imperishable transcendental field of life. Okay. That means Vedic texts of Upanishads dwells, they live in the imperishable transcendental field of life. Imperishable field of life. It is beyond easy visibility and accessibility. Therefore, they use the word transcendental, that's all. Such big words are essential because of its confusion, anyway. Next, paragraph number 18. In the forest hermitages of Vedic times, a group of pupils, PUPIL, would gather around a teacher, a master, who instructed them in yoga and supervised their progress. Okay? We do it, but not in this way. But this is what ideally we do with some select trainees in the what you call Jiva Yoga, Genius Service Institute. So later Jiva Yoga will comprise a part of a few sessions on critical revelations in the Upanishads, along with mental block analysis and training in creative analytic thinking. Without training in creative analytic thinking, these things cannot be comprehended in its full possibilities and potentials of becoming archetypes of the journey. Okay, that's why. Anyway, in the forest hermitages of Vedic times, a group of pupils would gather around a master. Teacher is the word used, that's not correct. Okay, who instructed them in yoga and supervised their progress. We know that many such schools were still active at the time of the Buddha, and that he studied with several teachers before the Great Awakening. And as a practical and non-ritualistic way to expand awareness, yoga was considered a vital means of ensuring individual evolution. Alright? Whereas only the Brahmins had access to the ritual procedures which maintained the integration of the general level of society. Okay? Yoga was open to all. That is the beauty of yoga. Brahmins were thoroughly happy that they were controlling the universe by their practices and rituals with the deities and knowledge in mantras. That's why most of the great yogis of India are from unknown, uncertain backgrounds and mostly from the so-called low class, so-called lower caste. Okay, when Satya Sai Baba or Amardananda Mai or Jagi Vasudev or Ramana Maharshi and many others, I suppose. And they were the top successes. There were some so-called upper caste. I don't go by all those perceptions, so, but I know this Sai Baba or Amardananda Mai or Jagi Vasudev or from the lower caste. And Ramana Maharshi, so a super rishi. Yes, I suffered. Okay. Even Jesus Christ, Jesus was living among the what you call the fisherman, and he was the son of a so-called carpenter. Krishna was the son of a what you call a cow-herd group. Okay, Buddha was the son of a prince, but an emperor, but he got out of that place and he lived unlike all the other two. Uttam saranam, dharmam saranam gacchami. And like a beggar, he promoted himself. But none of the others had to do that. But they suffered greater details of problems and tests and various crucibles of their journey of life. Okay? Yeah. But as a practical and non-ritualistic way to expand awareness, yoga was considered a vital means of ensuring individual evolution, whereas only the Brahmins had access to the ritual procedures, etc. Now, but yoga was open to all. It was the way for any individual, no matter what his social role, to purify his consciousness and live the full depth of life. His or her full depth of life. When I read that concept, I remember the great psychologist Abraham Maslow who talked about the fully functioning human being, which anyone can be, of course, alright? Who was Vyasa, born to a fisherwoman, so-called Supreme Rishi who wrote the Bhagavad Gita, so apparently, who were the great supreme wonders of the world history of human being, the Dhanvantari and the Susruddha and Charaga and Vagbhana, Sarngadhara and Nagarjuna, and Srinarayana and all the supreme geniuses who were in tune with every grass and blade of leaves and seeds and roots and trees on planet Earth. As well as in tune with understanding every cell, C-E-L-L, of the human body and even other animals like elephants and horses, dogs, birds. Okay? Alright. So yoga was open to all. It was the way for any individual, no matter what his social role, is to purify the consciousness and live the full depth of existence, full depth of life. That's a very wrong term. The full height of one's potentiality of life. The emphasis of yoga was, and still is, on the direct experience of the state of effortless being. Okay, effortless being. There shall not be any trace of tension anywhere in the body. Then only the mind is completely free, because the mind is the body. Mind is nothing but the result of the cellular process fields of the body. That's why raga adirogi, that's why yogic positions, that's why rasayanas, that's why pranayama, that's why what you call upavasa, that's why various other incubation, meditation practices. The body has to contribute. Body is the foundation. That's why Jiva Yoga. That's why my concept of Jiva Yoga. Alright? Yeah. The emphasis yoga was and still is. The Buddha lived at a time when the Vedic rituals were no longer a unifying force of the society. Paragraph 19. Vedic rituals were no longer a unifying force in society. And that is continuing even now in 2024. The so-called Hinduism could not unite the hundreds or thousands of different units of human organizations in the name of castes and subcastes and whatever, clans, whatever. With the pretended, many other attitudes and behaviors and ways of relationship, okay. They had become a religion of outer trappings, very correct. Outer trappings, what you call? Tranquilized by trivialities, more ritualism and empty speculation. In the ruins of the Vedic civilization, the first followers of the Buddha inaugurated the religion that was to irradiate almost all southeast of India and the Far East. So religion was formed. So history anyway. Now that's enough for this.